Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the Daggerheart release, and I'm going to tell you, and and I'll get right to the point. What we learned from the Daggerheart release is that people do not process your tabletop role playing game release intellectually. You think they will, they don't. They process it emotionally. They also do not process it spiritually. When you release your tabletop role playing game, um, they're going to process it emotionally, because releases are an emotional event, not an intellectual or a spiritual event. All right, let's jump into this. So I learned this from Dungeons and Dragons. I think so. I'm incredibly fortunate. Dungeons and Dragons has really helped me understand life extremely well. One of the things is I'm an evangelical Christian, and that has been, and Dungeons and Dragons has really taught me the incredible value of that, because I process the world intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. Lost people only process the world. People who are not saved, who not people who people who are not evangelical Christians only process the world emotionally and intellectually. Well, wait a second. What about all those people who have that false religion? There's they're gesturing at processing spiritually, but because they don't have the Holy Spirit, they don't actually process things spiritually. So I actually process the world intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. And this is one of the reasons why lost people suck so much, because they literally are missing 1/3 of their processing. So I wanted to be super clear. So I'm doing coverage of Daggerheart, and so one of the things is we need to tell people our biases. And so I had a really bad experience with the release of Daggerheart, and it emotionally wounded me. And I am extremely raw and vexed with Travis Willingham, Matthew Mercer, and Critical Role overall. And that is processing in my review of Daggerheart. So I want you to realize that. So why am I vexed? Why am I agitated? Why am I frustrated? Why am I emotionally wounded over the release of Daggerheart? Well, a broken promise. They said, hey, here is the release date. That release date is May 20th, right? And then I suffered when they released it a month early to Australia. So Critical Role really said, oh, you guys in Australia, you guys are special. Here you go. You get it a month early. I think it was a mistake. Whatever. I don't care what their reason was. They gave it to Australia a month early, which I think was really incredibly unfair, and again added to my emotional wounding from the release of. I'm telling you, I was emotionally wounded by the release. And the reason why is a broken promise. I was promised that I would be able to, that the book would release on May 20th. What does that mean? I live in the south suburbs of Philadelphia. I have no less than 7 FLGSs within a 30-minute drive. Not a single one of them could sell me the book on the release day. Most didn't know what it was. One of them had ordered 2 copies, right, which were already sold well before the release day, right? And frankly, they should have never even told people they had 2 copies, because like, what's the point of telling people we have copies here and you can kick rocks because you're not going to get them, right? Like, why did they even tell me they had the stock? I don't even understand that. And then others said they could get it on June 3rd, right? And so it was really bad, right? And so I did want to explain, and I will say, like, so as I'm reading it, there's just all this vexation, all this agitation, all this frustration, and any goodwill that I could have extended to the reading of the book is evaporated. I hate it. I have to say, I hate Daggerheart. And I hate Daggerheart because Critical Role broke a promise, right? I think it really could have changed if I could have, picked that book up off the shelf. I'm sorry. Yeah, my brain works this way. I voted for Obama, and I will never forget this. The first time I voted for Obama, I voted for him both times. I went to the Wawa. Wawa's like a super special place in Pennsylvania. Everybody goes there. Everybody loves it. It's a place of joy and love. Wawa is amazing. And so I went in, and it was just the day after Obama had been elected. And I had helped to elect Obama. And this old black man walked up, and he had a coffee in one hand, and he looked down and he saw Obama's face on the Daily Times, which is our local paper, and the coffee in his hand shook, right? And this other guy came up and like put his hand on his shoulder and was like, it's okay. And he was looking, and he never thought he would see like a black man as president, and I will never forget that moment. And and then and I was stunned. I just kind of stepped back holding my tasty cake, and like watched him pick this thing up and take it over and put down his 50 cents and buy his coffee and his newspaper. And it was profound, right? And I will say, like, if I had been able to go into my FLGS, and they were like, and they had it right on the shelf, and I had been able to say, give me a copy of that core set, give it to me, and then they had put it in my hand, and I paid my $100 or whatever it was for the core set, and then I rubbed it on my face, I would have love and goodwill for a kept promise. But I believe Travis Willingham and Matthew Mercer broke their promise of a release date. The release date was it was a non-release. It was a bound day of frustration. It was a hatred day. It was like, we hate you. You're not as good as Australians, right? Like, those Australians have had this for a month, right? And they're all enjoying playing Daggerheart, but you're an American. You suck, right? And it's galling. It's galling that, that Critical Role would insult Americans like this, releasing early to Australians. And it's also galling that they would pretend to have a release date that did not exist. And I'm frustrated, and I'm extremely frustrated, and I'm bitter, and I hate Daggerheart. I don't hate the people of Critical Role. We can't hate people, right? They did the best. Actually, they did not do the best they could. They were extremely lazy about this and did a whole bunch of terrible choices. But I do think Travis Willingham is a human being, and Matthew Mercer is a human being, and as an evangelical Christian, I should hate no one, and I don't hate them as people. I hate Daggerheart. I hate this product they created. I hate it with a passion. I hate it with a burning passion, right? And I will never forget the opposite of that day, that old black man had. I'm, just a Basque tabletop role-playing game fan who really wanted this special moment, and they stole it. And I will tell you right now, I will grind my teeth every time I see this physical book, because I was forced to buy it on Demiplane, and I had to pay my $35, and now if I ever buy the physical copy, I'll feel duped or trapped or tricked. And so if you're making it, so what are the lessons here? One, if you come for the king, you best not miss, right? I'm sick to death of people, downing D&D. D&D, Hasbro has been an incredible guardian, and when they say release day, they mean release day. It's real, right? It's not fake. Right? This was a fake release day, in my opinion. And Hasbro's D&D release days are real. I know that Dragon Delve will be on the shelf the day they promised it, and not just on my FLGS, on every FLGS, and on Target shelves, and it will be everywhere, on Barnes & Noble, on indie bookstores. They'll do the work, right? And I'm sick to death of people just pretending that they're not the best company in the world when it comes to tabletop role-playing games, and they are, clearly. And now Critical Role is proving that with their fake release day. I really hate Daggerheart. I don't know if I could say it more clearly than that. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.